Hi there. Are you looking to apply for a graduate program in the United States, Canada, or the United Kingdom? One of the crucial documents you need to submit for a successful application is a statement of purpose. A statement of purpose shows your motivation, your fit, and your experiences to get you into the program that you desire. There are different ways to write a statement of purpose, and in today's video, I'll be talking about 3 proven and effective techniques that you can use to write your statement of purpose. Grab a comfortable seat, a pen, and a paper as we discuss and analyze how to write an effective and a winning statement of purpose. Hello, welcome if you're a first-time viewer on this channel, and welcome back if you're a returning viewer and subscriber on this channel. My name is Tolu Lope. I am a second-year Masters of Biology student at Minnesota State University, Mankato. In today's video, I'll be talking about ways that you can write an effective and a winning statement of purpose. I have written a statement of purpose that have gotten me accepted into Minnesota State University, Mankato, Florida Atlantic University, and recently I interviewed with Purdue University and University of Texas Health, San Antonio. So I am coming with a lot of experience and a lot of success track that would be very relevant for you to write your own statement of purpose, doing it yourself, doing it the DIY way on this channel. So there are different ways that have been, shared by different people on how to write a statement of purpose. But I have found that there are 3 very common, not just common, but effective, proven to, help you achieve your dream of getting into a graduate program, a funded graduate program in the United States and any other country of your interest. So the 3 types of way that I'll be talking about is what I call 1, the generic statement of purpose. Number 2 is the program-specific statement of purpose. And lastly, which is my favorite, is the problem-driven statement of purpose. So in the generic statement of purpose, this is one that is the most common, I would say, the most type that I have seen across also different channels talk about it. So you start a generic statement of purpose by talking about your motivation and your connection to the field of study. So let's say, for example, you're an individual who is studying, you want to do cancer biology. So typically, the statement of purpose in the introduction part for that will start by showing how you are connected and how you are so passionate about that field. And many people take this introduction to talk about, for example, how maybe a relative or a friend has experienced the pain or experienced the torture of cancer, and it also impacted you in one way or the other. And because of that, you found the motivation, you found the passion to pursue a career in cancer biology. So this way is typically personal. For most people, it's something that it should show that you are very, very interested in the field and that you see yourself being somebody that will make significant contribution in that field. While many people try to frame up story to fit this model, there are definitely other ways you can write an effective statement of purpose. So let's take it a memory walk down. So we know that in high school, typically you write a statement with, an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. So what I just talked about in the generic one is the introduction part. So you are just showing how you are connected to the field of interest. And also you want to briefly talk about your qualifications, which could be your degree, your experience, and whatnot in the introduction part. While in the main body of the essay is where you take the time to talk about the research you see yourself doing in that program if you get accepted. So you probably have gone through the website, look for a suitable faculty member who is doing research in that field. So if you're mentioning cancer biology as a problem or as something you are interested in your first paragraph, it will make sense that in the body, the faculty you are talking about is doing research in that field. In an earlier video, I talked about how you can search for a school that has a fitted advisor to your area of interest. So you want to watch that video in the link below. So when you identify that faculty, that body will talk about what you see yourself doing in that field. And for example, cancer biology is a very broad field. So you don't want to just say you want to do cancer biology research. you want to probably break it down to become more specific. So for example, you want to talk about the fact that you're interested in studying how tubulin and actin help cancer cells to move across, different tissues and all. So you want to become more specific and begin to think about research questions that you actually want to answer through your research. So you want to look at the overall research interest of the faculty you mentioned. You can probably look at some of their publications and see the specific research questions that they are answering. And it will be very interesting if you found somebody's research and you have a follow-up question that you think, oh, this would be a good follow-up question that I would like to take over under their supervision. So you go from showing how you are motivated, how you are passionate, how you are related to that field, to talking about the specific research you see yourself doing in that program. And towards the end of the program, towards the end of the essay, you want to talk about what you see yourself doing at the completion of that program. So let's say you are doing a master's. You want to begin to talk about what is the next step after that master's is done, because in the entire thing, the overall goal of your education should be to solve a problem, or you should be working towards an end goal. So you want to take that last conclusion part to talk about your future after the program. It kind of also shows you as somebody who is thinking ahead, who doesn't just want to get an education for getting its sake. So you want to make sure you've done your research. You can go as far as being specific. For example, if you see yourself working in a research institute, talking about that research institute and why you think going from their program to that research institute is visible. And you also want to make the link to the fact that that program you're applying to will give you the necessary experience to work in probably that research institute. So you want to really tie all of these things nicely together to show that you are a very, very competitive applicant, somebody who knows what they are doing and who would not just add value to themselves but also add value to that program, because programs are also looking to get the best of minds. So you want to make sure that you are showing them that you are this individual and they don't want to take a chance. So they want to take a chance on you, rather they don't want to miss you. So you want to put all of that together nicely. So like I said, this is a very popular way to write a statement of purpose, but it is not the only way you can write your statement of purpose. The second type of way to write your statement of purpose is what I call a program-specific statement of purpose. So no matter how good, how well worded, how polished your generic statement of purpose is, if it doesn't fit the requirement of the program you're applying to, it's a no-no. So what I mean by this is that some schools, for example, have specific questions they want you to use your essay to answer. So for example, a good example will be the Mayo Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences. One of the questions they want you to answer is, why do you want to become a biomedical scientist? So you want to make sure that obviously your essay is answering that question. Like, it should not be hidden. I don't mean you should say, I want to become a biomedical scientist because biomedicine is this, but in such a way that your essay, whoever is reading it, can tell that this paragraph, for example, has answered this question that we are requiring. Does that make sense? So even if you started off by your entire application process, you have a generic statement of purpose that kind of lists out your entire qualification, your experience, your interest. Make sure that whichever document you are submitting to any program is specific to what they want. That is, if they are very specific. Some programs will give you the liberty to just say, oh, submit a statement of purpose, let's say 1 or 2 pages. Some wouldn't even say that you should limit it to 1 or 2 pages. But you want to make sure that if it is a specific question that they are asking you, your essay does the job of answering those questions. Some people will be so specific up to the point of, let's say, the font they want you to use, the size, the spacings of your line, and so forth and so forth. So you want to make sure that you do your due diligence to go through each program to know what they want from you before you submit your statement of purpose. The statement of purpose is a very, very crucial document. Regardless of how good your grades are, your statement of purpose can either make or mar your application. And if you don't have like a very great grade, your statement of purpose can actually lift up your application. So you want to take this part of your application as a big deal, because it is a big deal. So the third and final type of statement of purpose that I'll be talking about is what I call a problem-driven statement of purpose, which is the way I have adopted to apply to most of the schools that I have applied to, apart from the ones that ask like specific questions. So a problem-driven statement of purpose, just like the name implies, tries to answer or like write your essay from a problem perspective to a solution perspective. So what do I mean by this? Education, like I said earlier, is supposed to put you in a stead to solve problem, for example, in our community. So you want to make sure that your essay is written in such a way that you have identified a problem and you are seeking this education to make you a solution to that problem. So this is like thinking like an entrepreneur. You look for a gap, right? And you fill the gap. But you say that in order for me to be able to fill this gap, I need this education. So let me give you a very more specific example. So for example, like I keep talking about cancer. Pardon me if you're not in the sciences, but this will apply across different disciplines too. So I like cancer biology research, right? So when I want to talk about cancer biology, or let's say virus, a viral infection, and I want to apply to a program to do research in that field, I will start by talking about the fact that that field there is an existing problem. So in my introduction, I'm going to take the time to talk about the impact of that problem, and this is where statistics come into play. I want to talk about, the number of people that are currently infected, the number of mortality cases, maybe the progression over the years. And when you're using statistics in this case, if you're writing an essay in 2025, you don't want to be using the statistics from 1990. You want to use a statistics that is very relevant, very updated, and kind of shows that you are somebody who is up to date with your field of interest. So I will talk about, existing data in that field and what could be if we don't solve that problem. So I kind of make an obvious problem more obvious, and something probably which is not even obvious, I make it obvious. So my beginning talks about the problem. So I attack it from that place. Then the second part of my essay will talk about what I as an individual, what I have been doing to solve that problem. So what I have been doing up to that point might not really be that I have found a cure to cancer. But one of the things that I have been doing is to get my first degree in a relevant field that puts me in a good stead to solve that problem. So what do I mean by this? Let's say I have foundational knowledge about how cancer cells, how they are propagated, so on and so forth, or I have taken an online course on that field that has given me the enough theoretical knowledge and also maybe some practical knowledge, some hands-on experience that has put me in a stead to transition to independent research. So I talk about how I am an individual, that I have not just identified a problem, because if you identify a problem, what next? You need to be able to tell us what you have been doing. So I talk about what I have been doing, and I want to curate that what I have been doing in such a way that it closely ties up with the problem that I mentioned in my first paragraph. So that is what I do mostly in the second central theme of my essay. While in the third theme of my essay, I talk about my future in that program, or like what I want to do to continue solving that problem. And one of the crucial things that I want to do to solve that problem is to earn this degree that I'm applying for. So that means that degree I'm applying for will give me the prerequisite knowledge and experiences to solve that problem I'm mentioning. And I will take this paragraph also to talk explicitly about a faculty, one or more faculty, try to be flexible, one or more faculty that I see myself working with. And that is because those faculties are working on the areas that I mentioned initially. So I'll talk about, so everything has to tie together really nicely to show that you are somebody who doesn't just, you might have multiple interests, but you're not just flying around. You are, you understand your purpose, right? You understand what you want to do. So I talk about what I want to do in that program, what I want to, maybe some of the courses that I want to take, maybe also extracurricular activities, maybe I see myself volunteering in an organization that is located in the town of that institution. That's why I want to come there. Or maybe let's say I'm going to a city that is the virus that I'm interested in, or particular type of cancer I'm interested in, is prevalent. So I will say that, oh, I know that this city is the best fit for me to come to do this program, because I have ready candidates, ready samples around me to do my research. So it kind of ties together really nicely. And in my final paragraph, I talk about my future after the program. So I envisage that I get into the program, and that the knowledge, and not just the terms of science knowledge, but like the connections I will make, the kind of person I will become out of this program, my time management skills, my ability to be innovative. I would say that all of this will put me in a stead to do this in the future. So this is what I want to do in the future. I want to become an independent researcher, and I know that the time that I will have taken at so school, the time and the experience will put me in a good stead to solve the problem that I mentioned earlier. And I always like to end my essay by saying that, not just in this word, but like generally, to say that I know that me getting into this program is not just a win for me, but it's a win for the entire science community. It's a win for the globe, because it will put me in good stead to solve the problem that I started with initially, that I started with in the first paragraph initially. So I hope you get this idea, and you know from this video that there are different ways to write your essay. So where you want to start from initially is actually to check your program and see the kind of liberty that they give you or not to write your essay, whether they are specific or not. And if they are not, you want to decide whether you want to do like the more generic, starts with an emotional statement, or you want to do like a more problem-driven statement. And to wrap up this video, and to give I like to always give you guys something very practical, something easy, something that you can actually apply. I'm going to read my statement of purpose. If you've watched this video up to this point, it's a good time to like, to subscribe, and share this very value-adding video to your community. If you have any other specific question that you want me to answer in my upcoming videos, please do well to drop them in the comments, and let me know your thoughts, where you are in your journey towards graduate school application. This is a safe space. This is a community of people who don't give up. This is a community of people who forge ahead, and I would like so much to be a part of your success story. So I'm going to be reading my statement of purpose that got me admitted into my current program, and I also use this template to apply to my recent schools that I just interviewed with. So this is an application for a master's in biology program, and my interest here was cancer biology, and that's why I go on talking about cancer biology. So my first paragraph goes to us. In Africa, the cancer burden is projected to rise from 1.1 million cases and 400 deaths in 2020 to 2.1 million and 1.4 million deaths in 2040. For a continent whose health system is not developed to meet present, let alone projected demands for cancer treatment, this expected rise in cases could be highly deleterious, while developed countries are investing in building systems and strategies for early detection and treatment of cancer. This approach might take a while to actualize in Africa, considering the economic burden that already exists on the continent. What then could be the solution for managing cancer on the African continent? Prevention. Prevention through preventive medicine for cancer is a more sustainable rescue for the African continent. So in this first paragraph, I just talked about how much of a burden cancer is on the African continent, and I am projecting that prevention is a better cure on the African continent than treatment, because prevention, one, will cost us less, and I am also projecting that prevention will come through foundational research in cancer. So in my second paragraph, it talks about like my first degree, where I earned a bachelor's in zoology, and I also talk about research that I did that is very connected to my program of interest. So I wouldn't bother going over that, because that's just my personal experience, but I will go straight to talk about the paragraph that talks about the research I want to do in the program. So it goes to us. ApoB3A, a cysteine deaminase protein, naturally converts cytosine to uracil in foreign DNA, such as viruses. However, it has been studied and observed to equally mutate genomic DNA, hence leading to an autoimmunity condition that initiates tumor development. The research of Dr. So is doing in this field is very relevant, and further study could bring breakthroughs to therapeutics for autoimmune cancer cases, which is prevalent with the senior citizens. Our previous work on ApoB3B, also a member of the ApoB3 family, involved studying how viruses respond to the innate immune response of ApoB3B, and particularly studying which viral infectivity factor of HIV-1 had the most counter effect on the molecule of interest, ApoB3B. I would love to undertake similar research on the ApoB3A protein for my thesis project. I also want to use molecular techniques to study what triggers ApoB3A protein to be overexpressed, given that the degradation of genomic DNA has been observed to occur mostly when the level of the protein is overexpressed, especially in the absence of a foreign DNA. I'll stop there briefly. So what I just did there was talk about the general theme of how ApoB can lead to the development of cancer, and also I talked about the faculty that is doing research on that field. But particularly, I talked in that last sentence about a possible research question that I can answer. So I'll just go over that again. I say I want to use molecular techniques to study what triggers the ApoB3A protein to be overexpressed. So that's like the general theme. For example, I already said that if I get into that program, that's what I want to be doing, given that the degradation of genomic DNA can be overexpressed, blah, blah, blah. But I also try not to limit myself just in case that faculty doesn't have space. I talk about somebody else in the paragraph below. So that kind of give an explanation. And let me also show you where I talk about the fact that I think that school is it says the finding from this research can hereby guide on synthesizing therapeutics that can help the body protect against autoimmunity and prevent it altogether. The world-class research facilities at the Faculty of Biology MNSU, such as the vivarium, the real-time polymerase chain reaction facility, tissue culture facility, scanning electron microscope, and above all, well-grounded faculty members will be crucial to helping achieve my research goal. So what I did there is I mentioned facilities that the school has that I know that I will use in my research. So you might not be all grounded in like research in that field, like you might not know a lot about the techniques, but if you read their paper, you can actually know the methods. Then, and I looked after I know the methods that she's using, like the research methods, then I looked at the school entirely and looked at what facilities they have. So I link it up with the fact that, if I'm going to be studying this, then I need tissue, I need to do cell culture. And I identify that the school has cell culture. I will do PCR, I identify that the school has PCR machine. So I kind of link everything back and forth, so on and so forth. I later went on to talk about like school organizations that I could join and all of that. Then in the last paragraph, which is something I really like, I said, through the knowledge and experiences I would gain at MNSU, I see myself entering the industrial biotechnology sector and being a wave of influence for the development of preventive cancer medicine, which is inclusive of the African genomics. So remember, I started my first paragraph by saying that prevention is the cure for Africa. So now I'm saying that if I finish this program, I see myself entering the industry to become a wave for blah, 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 for preventive medicine for cancer. So I intend to further increase my knowledge of immunology and oncology research through a PhD program in biological sciences, and later on a master's in business administration program, and further build my skills to compete in clinical business world. I envision a career with a good blend of industrial, academic, and policy practices, enabling me to bring both theoretical and practical knowledge to the classroom and thus inspire the next generation of scientists. So this is where I would like to stop on this one. So again, I just like to review again that I started with a problem to what I have done so far to put me in a good position to solve that problem, to what I think that I will do in that program. How that coming to that program is me actually preparing myself to solve that problem, and what I see myself doing at the end of that program. I hope you've learned one or two things from this video, and I hope that you don't hoard this knowledge, you don't hoard this information, and you share it around. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for taking your time to impact yourself with knowledge to make your dream of a graduate program in the United States a success. I hope that in the nearest future you will share with us the news of how this video has helped you to get into the program of your choice. And I hope to see you in my next video. Please make sure you subscribe and click on the notification bell so you always get notice when I publish a new video. Thank you. See you in my next one.